change. We all wanna be somebody else. I wanna visit all the places nobody goes. I wanna teach all the things that nobody knows. I wanna grow wings, leave the coop, learn to fly. Bungee jump from the tallest building in Dubai. I wanna fly around town in my UFO. I wanna eat real food, not the GMOs. I wanna make moves.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days, and I am here with Mr. Bill Pierce. Welcome.
Hi, Kathy. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
It has. That's a thing about the local scene. You know, everyone's always around, aren't they?
Yes, yes. You know what? I've found out that there's a change in what you're doing now. You've moved from being a film critic to true crime writing.
That's correct.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of changes recently.
Yes.
For me.
What caused this change here?
By about 2018, I would have been hosting Forbidden Films for the Jerome Independent Film Festival and Music Festival for several years, and what I would do for that was I would collect local films that I felt didn't get the recognition they deserved, and I would show them, but during Forbidden Films. But in a very short time, the well ran dry, and it was harder and harder for me to find films I actually wanted to screen.
Oh, okay.
Not to go into too much detail, but like by 2017, 2016, a lot of tragic events occurred in the local film scene, and it all just seemed to implode for me. And I just became really angry and resentful, and I started to, as I looked at the films, they just weren't presenting themselves the way they could. The medium was being wasted to me. It was a resource that was being wasted. And I just went back to my roots of experimental film, and I just reread the Cinema of Transgression Manifesto. If you know what that is, that was the New York underground film scene of the 80s, Nick Zed and Richard Kern, and these really hardcore art house underground filmmakers that were really film had to be a weapon. That was your weapon. It was dangerous. Film was threatening.
Oh.
And I just
That
re-embraced
sounds
that.
scary.
It is. It's really edgy. Where if you're making film to just make money or be with your friends or try to meet women and stuff like that, which was really what was happening. You're just squandering the resource. It should be dangerous and threatening and should anger people and everything. And I just totally embraced that, and more or less rejected all the local film that I was seeing, and just completely took in if it wasn't art house, underground, dangerous, controversial, then it wasn't worth showing. And I've stuck with that ever since.
Cool. That is cool. Can you tell us what true crime? What do you do as a true crime writer?
So now that I'm writing true crime, I just cover Phoenix true crime, just local, and again, just kind of like the film, I avoid the mainstream. Everyone wants to know about Winnie Ruth Judd and all these local stuff that has been just overplayed, and there's books everywhere about these local things. They're passe. So we call it going down the rabbit hole. You go onto the Arizona Republic Archives, and there's a weird little story on the corner about something weird happening down the street, and you start following that, and it will take you to these realms of just unbelievable activities and happenings, and a whole different side of Arizona and Phoenix you never could have imagined existed. Yeah.
Oh, so you find a story that may not be huge out there right now, and you start researching and writing about it.
Exactly.
You give it light. Is what you're doing.
I try to tell the story from the victim's perspective and things like that. I try to put a human twist on it. Like I think earlier somebody had asked me which one was the most influential for me. There was a stripogram girl who would go to your house and sing happy birthday and strip, gather up her stuff and leave, and right away that sounds like a really bad idea, and it is. And one day she was killed by one of the people she went over there, and what I noticed was that the local media, once it happened, they reported it and it was done, and I wanted to know more about this. So I even reached out to this person's family, and they said, absolutely not. We're not going to help you with this. In fact, if you even write anything, we're going to come after you. And I was able to just get all the police photos and public records and everything like that, and be able to tell her story. This was a human being living a very tragic life. These were two human beings both living very tragic lives, and it was like fate collided in the most calamitous way for them to meet. If their meeting was not going to end well for either, and that was exactly how it went, you know. And so I thought it was, to me, that was one of the most intriguing stories I've covered.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So once you write these stories, what happens with them?
They go onto a Facebook page called True Crime in Phoenix, and we had a plan to start a blog. That's where they would initially be presented, and then the blog would have more detail and everything like that. And again, things happened with that Facebook page. The creators of the page. The creator of the page passed away, and so we're still trying to.
Lots of tragedy.
Yeah, I know my life is filled with tragedy now, but we're working on it.
You have a Facebook page for your stories. You're doing a podcast. You stated.
Occasionally, yeah.
Occasionally.
Working towards that. Yeah.
So, is there any plans on having a show about this? I mean, there's a lot. I know there's a few crime shows out there, but is there any plans for you to create something like that?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me that, because very often I present it to people who have existing podcasts or a true crime podcast. The way I present the stories I'm covering, true crimes I'm covering, aren't Hollywood enough, or I don't make them entertaining enough. I have, as part of the Cinema of Transgression manifesto and everything, is that truth is stranger than fiction. If you tell the truth, you will terrify everybody. People don't want to believe that those things really happen, so let's kind of, gloss it over in some sort of muslin and make it more palatable that there's a little fantasy going on. Therefore, when I present these stories to them, they're just, they want me to change them around, twist the facts a little, and make it more palatable and entertaining, and I just cannot do that.
Right.
So
because this is, as you stated, this is someone's life.
These are real events that really happen, and it's so fantastic sometimes that people just won't accept it, and they say, no, there has to be more to it than that. And I say, there isn't. And they go, well, can you put it in? And no, that's not going to happen. So we're working on it.
So is this something new here in Arizona? Excuse me. Or has there been other true crime writers that you know of?
There's a lot of the true crime writers. It's just that we're doing more interpretive, I guess you could call it. There's walking tours now that you can take of notorious crime scenes and everything, and that's becoming more popular. The trouble with doing we've talked about it, me and other true crime writers and stuff have talked about doing crime crawls and tours of crime scenes and everything like that. It would be great, but the trouble is in Phoenix and in Arizona, they're so spread out. Whereas, like, you go to New York or L.A., it's just, you can just inch your way along and something happened, and everything's too far spread out. So we have to kind of work on that a little, and that's pretty much the main stumbling block as far as trying to do that. But a lot of the writers are doing that, or a lot of the people are trying to incorporate a interpretive tour.
It sounds like this is a niche that you're going to have to start up new things and get things going here for Arizona, because things are different in Arizona versus New York and LA. So things are a little different here. It takes time for people to get adjusted. So so it sounds like you're going to have to get things going in this niche, or someone's going to have to get things going.
Which was surprising to me, because when we presented it, when we go, isn't this amazing? I can take you right now to the condominium where Bob Crane was murdered. And people, I take them there, and what do they say? They go, "This isn't it." I saw it in a movie, and this isn't it. And I go, "No, I'm sorry, it's so mundane, but this is it."
I can't remember the guy's name, but I remember as a kid, my mom or grandmother always talking about this. I don't know if he must have been a soul singer. That's what they said back then in their days, I think. And he was killed on Broadway.
Yeah, that was Ike. I'm and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, but he had a famous song called Funky Broadway.
Yes, that's
and
it.
it was actually Broadway in Phoenix.
Yes.
Was what it was. Dyke and the Blazers was the name of his band, and he was killed down on Buckeye outside of one of the clubs there, and Buckeye itself has such a notorious. They used to call it the Buck, and it was the main.
I can tell you
strip.
some stories about
Right.
that.
So I actually, one of the tangents I went on was deadly dining. I called it. It was a whole series. I wanted to know where the deadliest places to eat were, and it was called Dixon's Buffet, and people died there almost on a daily basis.
Wow.
And the creepy part is, and this is what they wonder about Dyke, is that Dyke and the Blazers, is that people who didn't have to live there, had no reason to be there. Some of them were quite affluent. He was doing quite well as a recording artist, yet something brought things bring you down there. People that should not have been there, and they met their end, a violent end down there.
But that was the in place, I guess, back in it, because I'm sure my mom can sit back there beside you and tell you some stories about Dixon's.
She'll say, I know exactly what. Yeah, I was able to. There was a pastor named Eaton Caldwell, Pastor Caldwell, who had the Tempe Way Church right across the street from Dixon's, and I was able to track him down. He's retired now, but I got him to tell me about it. He said in 30 years of having my church across the street, he was there maybe 4 times, but he could verify, yes. He could verify, yes. There was a lot of activity. He said something really interesting to me, though. I said, what about like Walking Tall, where the people have had enough and they're going to burst into the place, burn it down, and end all the violence and everything. He said, no, I will not kill you to make you a better person. Right. And I was like, that was kind of the attitude. They knew it was going on. All they could do is just do the best they could.
So where can our audience find more about true crime writers?
They can find more about me as a true crime writer.
Yes.
I do have a really extensive volume of work that I've left on True Crime in Phoenix on Facebook, and if you do have to be vetted, sort of, because we have a lot of people just trying to do ads and everything. But if you just say, I saw Bill Pierce on Desertwood Days, then I will shortlist you. I will fast track you into a membership. And yeah, we're still working on the page right now. There's plenty of really neat stories with a lot of research for everyone to look at, and we're still working on where we're going to go from there.
Well, awesome. Thanks for joining us today. This was really interesting. Wait till I tell my mom you were talking about Dixon. Thanks for joining us today, and we will catch you next time on Desertwood Days.